All right, I'm gonna redo this video. All right, so because I can make it shorter, a lot shorter. I think the last video I did was like 20 minutes. So Chris Williamson posted a video with Brett Cooper, conservative talk show or conservative personality on the Daily Wire, and this is a segment of a longer video that they've done, but the topic that they're talking about is, did women have women given up the whole girl boss culture? And this is on Chris Williamson's own channel. I think the title of the videos are "Women Finally Pushing Back Against Girl Boss Culture." So you can go look that video up. But I want to mention something that Brett talked about when she was mentioning like the 30-plus-year-old women who were posting videos on TikTok and YouTube and all sorts of social media, and the men in the comment section who are like, ha, 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 yeah, you're all old and raggedy now and you can't have kids, right? Because the girls are doing like, oh, I was a girl boss, and I just want to be married and have kids, and I just want to bake cookies, and men are over here coming at them with the force of 1,000 suns, like, you're ugly, you're wrinkly, you'll never have kids, you're so stupid, yeah, how does it feel to make bad decisions, this is what you get, you're gonna die alone, right? And it's just like, okay, right? And that's what Brett's saying. And Brett's like, why are guys being so mean? And she didn't say misogynistic, because that's probably a leftist liberal trigger word, but I have the feeling that that's the word that she wanted to use. And Chris Williamson kind of agreed with her on that front, saying that like, that's not very, like, it throws fuel on a fire of her pain. And Brett was like, yeah, it does, and it's not really progressive towards coming up with an actual solution to the problem of women making these choices. Now, right there is where I want to hop in, because here's the thing. The men in these comment sections, and men in comment sections in general, that sit here and try to spike the football on women, or beat them up over their decisions, is because that is how men are treated, right? That is how men are treated. Men are treated that way, right? If a guy goes out there and works his ass off and tries to make something happen and it doesn't happen, there is no, oh, you did such a good job, here's a consolation prize, oh, you worked so hard. No, it's, you failed, next, right? Or if a guy goes out there and he, just gets ran through the ringer, right? It's just like, well, you should have made better decisions, young man. And well, you should have zigged you zigged when you should have zagged. You pivoted when you should have rolled. You did this when you should have did that, right? And it's like, that's how men are treated, right? And then again, we have this still constant promoting that there's no such thing as gender roles, and that there's no such thing as really male and female, or male and female tendencies. So when it's just like, oh, we're going to level the playing field. So that's what these men are operating under. It's like, oh, okay, you treated me this way, I'm going to treat you that way, right? And then most of the men in these comment sections are really just the dating prospects of these women who got rejected, right? And these were the men where it's like, like the movie Hitch, right? Where it's the scene where, I love the movie Hitch, by the way. It's the scene where Cressida Baylor's making out with that, I guess it's like that football player guy, or whoever he's supposed to be. Anyway, he's supposed to be like the guy who she moves on to when she leaves Will Smith's character Hitch, and he's like standing there in the ring. He's like, Cressida, like, what did I do? What did I do? Right? And the guy's like, man, you're doing it right now, right? And she's like, I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry, right? Like that whole scene, right? These are the men who are the Will Smith character, except this time the women are out in the rain, and not necessarily the fact that the man's in there with another woman. The man's just inside the car, and the woman's out in the rain, and she's like, what did I do? I just what went wrong? And the men are like, you're doing it right now. Sorry, no, you can't get in. And they roll the window up, right? It's like, that's what they're doing, right? And the men are the men, because the men have been told multiple things, like, like, we don't owe you relationships, and just because you're nice to us doesn't mean that we owe you anything, and okay, you're nice to me, but whatever. Or we're looking for a high value man, and then high value is inconsistent, and whatever it is that they're talking about 9 times out of 10, and this is what the men are reacting to, right? This is their chance to now see the women who they wanted make bad decisions. And let's be honest, when you're growing up, sometimes people do, when you're young, you do try to help each other out. Like women, you shouldn't do this, men, you shouldn't do that. And we try to reinforce this amongst each other, which I don't know if this new generation does that, but usually, but I remember my generation, birds of a feather still kind of flock together. And when we talk about women who are 30, 35 years old, like that's the younger half of my age group, but still my age group. So I understand. It's like, I got interrupted. Anyway, so like I said, we're all given a lesson, right? And it's like when you're trying to do something in society, like everyone has to play their own role, right? And again, like there's going to be people who succeed and there's going to be people who fail, always. And the thing is that we are very soft on women when they fail, and we're very harsh on men when they fail, right? And these are the people who have failed digging in at other people who have also failed, if that makes sense, right? Because let's be honest, guys in these comment sections, they're not the men who are high value, who just have so many women on their arm that they don't know what to do with. Like they're not in these comment sections, right? It's the men who were told, you know, be nice to women, do this, do that, and all your dreams will come true. And that not only didn't happen, but women pushed back violently against that. And then they're responding to the women who were told to go do X, Y, and Z, that also failed. And then now the men are giving them the same energy that those men received when they failed, right? So I get Britt's point about we need to be more less harsh, more humane, less mean. But the fact of the matter is that unless we start treating men better, this will always be the response. This will always be the response to female failure until men get treated better. And we have a society where no one cares about men until men lash back, right? Like no one cares about men's feelings until a woman who is struggling about, you know, her future and wanting to be a mom and things of that nature. Then when she gets, you know, the force of 1,000 sons in the comments section talking about, and so what, bitch, right? You know, then all of a sudden it's like, oh, well, you know, men shouldn't act this way. And let's talk about men and where does this come from? And this is very, you know, these are incels and losers. And it's just like, I'd be careful with the name calling because that's what they're doing to the woman who you just said was inappropriate. So I don't understand what this is. Like, again, like you're creating the very monster that you say you can't stand, right? But anyway, that's kind of just all I wanted to say is just like the response that these women are getting from making bad decisions or making decisions that didn't work out, because you don't know it's a bad decision until after the fact, especially when it comes to society and when society pivots or changes on you and you're young. So like you grew up with one set of rules, and then by the time you get to an adult, it's like, and now everything's different, adjust on the fly. And if you don't adjust in this certain time frame, of which is never defined, then you're just basically exiled from society, right? Or your own age group or whatever. And that's what's happened to men, and now women are starting to get it because, like, you know, like a girl can't be a girl boss and a trad wife at the same time. Like that's just, those are two different mindsets. Those are two different mentalities. It's not going to be the same thing. But anyway, I just want to say that, you know, I know Brett Cooper and Chris Williamson aren't going to watch this video, but, you know, for those out there who run across this video, you know, it's not because of misogyny. Like, this is how men are treated, and men are now treating others the way that they've been treated, right? It's just like the golden rule, treat others how you want to be treated. Okay, this is how men were treated. Now they're doing it the same way, right? Like this is the reaction to how society has treated men, right? Because now the other half of society, which is women, are going through the ringer as well because of they were told misinformation. This has to do with generational dynamics, but that's for another video. But they were told wrong information, and they were arrogantly thinking that they were going to, a lot of these women didn't just go down these routes like, oh, I'm just going to do this and do better for myself, and, you know, I'll get married and do all this stuff later. End of story. Oh no, this was, you know, hands in the air. Men can't tell us what to do. You know that Beyonce single ladies dance, except they're not talking about relationships. They're just talking about careers. And it's just like, you know, men are like, okay, that's cool, you can have your career, but hey, let's get married, let's have kids, let's do this. And it's just like, I want a high value man. What are you talking about, right? And that's black, white, Hispanic, Asian, everybody under the sun, right? I'm speaking about everybody over Western culture. And it's like women did it with such an attitude that now that things aren't working out, and now that men are shut down, and again, women, when they want to be a mom's like, well, you need a man, or you like, like, oh, I want to be married and bake cookies for my kids. It's like, okay, well, a man has to be in that equation, but all of the men who are truly your equals, you rejected, and you rejected with such a nose in the air that this is now the reaction that you're getting, right? Because you told those men that they were valueless, they were worthless, they were nothing, and then now here you are like, oh, nothing's working out. Okay, I do need a man. And now those same men are like, oh, it's time for revenge. I'm going to do to you what you were doing to me when we were 18 to 30. Now that you're 30 to 35, I'm going to unleash those, was that 12 years of angst and anger that, you told me to do better. And, despite the fact that, you wanted me to earn $200,000, being the, just a regular cubicle worker at a job that, thought that they were doing something, paying $50,000 a year, which I'm gonna do a video on the economy later. But yeah, like that's where this is coming from, right? This is just men treating women how they were treated when men fail, right? But anyway, yeah, it's not misogyny. This is just women are getting the pushback that's normal, right? Like this is just a normal swing back in the opposite direction. But anyway, that's all I gotta say. This is John from XY Rising.